Ubiquiti graced us with some new bridges, from this cheap unit to a high-powered 6 GHz network switch with wireless backhaul. It's an exciting time to be a Ubiquiti nerd. Let's do some tests. Around a year ago, we looked at the original bridge. You can look at this like a PoE injector to connect a camera or another access point that's then wirelessly backhauled. Typically, you'd use a device like this to bring hardwired internet access to somewhere that doesn't have it, like an outbuilding in the garden, or let's say your gates, for example. The drawback to this device, though, is the range. It's quite poor, and that's because the speeds are good from this device, like really good. I think we were getting way north of 100 to 150 megabits per second. And that's because this device can only see 5 GHz networks. I hope you know where this is going. This is the new Bridge IoT. Yes, it is basically the little brother or sister to the bigger device bridge, which has a Clover port on the bottom of it for power. The Minis port does not have PoE out, or PoE in for that matter. You basically power this thing up via USB-C or the power socket on the bottom of it. It connects to your 2.4 GHz and then gives you a LAN connection for something like a printer or a gate system. So now the device has got some power, it's automatically appeared inside of my UniFi application on my phone using Wi-Fi device autolink. And there we go, the signal lights have lit up showing that this is now connected to my UniFi network, and we can see inside of the UniFi software that we're connected to the studio access point with a really strong signal here, minus 42 dBm. You can go into the radios and prioritize certain access points if you want this thing to prioritize that AP. Right, so she's doing over 50 meg. I'm pushing 60 now. That's quite impressive for 2.4 GHz. But that's not gonna stop us from doing some extreme tests with this little thing. So we've seen what this thing can do in a closed environment, but I want to push this thing to its limit. So this is the setup. We've got the IoT bridge mounted on top of this pole being powered via a USB-C power bank. This is then connected the other side of this field 440 feet away to a U7 outdoor that's positioned atop of the studio. Now this isn't using its omnidirectional antennas, but more the directional inbuilt antennas, so hopefully this should work. Now, 440 feet, the device is connected and I am able to ping out to the internet. The ping is also really acceptable for what I would consider IoT networking. I've now moved back to 550 feet away and we are still able to ping the internet, which is absolutely crazy. So you're probably wondering why I didn't record any speed test results, and I did, but if you really want speed, then this is the bridge to get, and we'll talk more about this in a moment. Now this certainly isn't its use case, with speed tests showing only about 1.5 meg. But at this distance, if you were to do something like connect it to a Superlink gateway that's monitoring, let's say, a couple of sensors, then that would work absolutely fine, but you won't be streaming 4K Netflix. Although I would like to remind you that my parent access point is outside, bolted to the roof. For a more realistic use case, I wandered round my garden, this time using my indoor access point as the parent AP, and there wasn't anywhere I could go without service. The furthest flower bed and the shed still had usable signal. Even down at my gates, these speeds would be sufficient for an intercom system or a couple cameras. The upload speed often far surpassed the download speed, and I was really impressed at its ability to roam between parent access points as I was testing it. It takes next to no power at all, connects to your 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi and gives you a data connection. Simple, cheap and effective. But this is the UDB Switch, and this thing takes it up a notch. But first, I need to thank today's sponsor, Surfshark, who I've been using throughout this video. Surfshark's a leading VPN provider that you can use to protect and mask your location online. You install the app, choose from one of the many servers around the world, and that's it. I can still stream my usual UK shows whilst I'm travelling abroad. Or you can catch shows from across the pond that aren't available in your region. And I've also saved money on software licensing through changing my region through Surfshark. And nowadays it's super easy for hackers to spoof public Wi-Fi networks. So if you use public Wi-Fi, you need to make sure you're using a VPN just to make sure that your data is protected, especially if you're accessing things like your bank. TechFlow viewers can scan the code on screen or go to surfshark.com/TechFlowVPN to get 4 months extra. And if you don't like it, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Now, the UDB Switch's spec sheet is really something to behold. It looks like a normal UI switch on the surface, very comparable to the Ultra switch, but this one has some really cool tricks up its sleeve. First, all the ports are 2.5 gig, with one of them supercharged all the way up to 10 gig, but that's not the best bit yet. All these ports also provide PoE, but you don't need to uplink this switch with a cable because it has a wireless bridge built right inside of it that works on 5 and 6 gigahertz. I've been waiting a while for an all-in-one solution like this, and it makes bringing wired access to hard-to-wire places really easy. It's so strange plugging into a network switch and seeing only one cable plugged into it, yet we still have internet access, and that's because it's backhauling via Wi-Fi to the closest UniFi access point. Speaking of, the speeds from this device really are incredible. Connected to a U7 at 6 GHz with a strong signal, we're averaging about 1.2 gigabits per second. 6 GHz really is signal reliant though, so if you're after gigabit speeds, you need a strong signal. Even an acceptable signal halved the throughput, merely determined by the placement on my desk. But still, 600 meg is still way faster than most people's residential internet connection. As you'd use this device for backhauling a media cabinet or your desk, I tested some gaming and it felt absolutely fine, just like I was hardwired, so I'm sure it will work fine in an office environment too. When backhauled at 5G, the speeds were slightly less than standard, but it wouldn't surprise me if Ubiquiti were doing something here to maintain a lower ping time, which remained acceptable even when under load, acting more like a wired backhaul than a wireless one. This is a brilliant way to bring 6 GHz support to devices that don't support it, like older MacBooks. 10 out of 10. Also, UI have released a line of 60 GHz dishes in this same bridging category, so that's what you should get if you're after more speed. But we'll have to save that for next time. Thanks for watching, guys, and peace.